Good afternoon and welcome along. It is Tuesday and it is 12 o'clock, and that means only one thing. I'm going live here on LinkedIn and YouTube, talking you through the best and worst, and all parts in between of HubSpot. And this week, I'm going to be talking to you about the sales sequencing element. It's a paid feature, so we've kind of been through the majority of those free tools now. And now I'm really starting to dive into the real power of HubSpot by bringing the paid functionality to life. So let's get stuck in. Um, right, here we are. We are on the dashboard where we always tend to start. Apologies if I'm looking a bit weird, but my screens have switched sides. So I'm going to be looking at this screen and not at the camera. So sales sequences, what are they and why would we use them? Well, you've probably all received what you feel are kind of automated emails. Now, so they are. Firstly, let's throw that out there. This isn't a magic science. This is an automation, particularly set up for sales, but they are very, very powerful when used correctly. They're not used for spamming or anything like that, but in terms of building out a cadence of emails that take someone on a conversation and follow up, that a sales rep can actually build, personalize correctly and properly personalize, because they are meant to be actual, written emails. Then it enhances their skills. They don't have to check this up. They don't have to, remember to send these emails. They can schedule them to go out at set intervals, create reminders for themselves, add extra tools into that sequence to really build into a salesperson's life a really powerful tool. So there's two elements to it. Firstly, we need to look at some templates. Now, hopefully you're familiar with HubSpot templates, or if not, go back onto YouTube, find the previous, video that I've done on templating. But for now, I'm going to go over to conversations and templates, and I'm going to build out a couple from a library just for us to use in this example. So if I go this one, this one, this one, kind of doesn't matter for now, but we're just going to build those. Here we go. So there's a bunch of templates. Now, depending on what you're trying to do in this sequence, I would recommend somewhere around 4, possibly 5 emails maximum in any sequence. And those will be scheduled over a period of maybe 2 to 3 weeks, perhaps. So you're not bombarding people, you're keeping the conversation alive, but you're not spamming them, first and fundamentally. So now we've got some templates. We can go to automation at the top and then sequences. So a sequence, as I said, is an automation of emails, but the difference being these aren't marketing emails. So these are coming from somebody's inbox, or from your connected inbox, and going directly on a one-to-one basis. So these are very much one-to-one emails, not one-to-many. So if we're going to go ahead and create our first sequence, we're going to prospecting. Let's use the prospecting template because, as ever, HubSpot provide loads of brilliant tools, and ultimately, they are based on data across millions of portals that they have access to. They can understand what works, what doesn't work, and make some, great best case scenarios. So let's hit create sequence top right, and you can see what this is. So if I talk you through this, so this is a 7-step, 11 business days prospecting sequence that HubSpot provided. So the first action is a call. So you can either have that set up that you have to have completed the task before the next step will happen. For this example, I'm just going to put continue without completing task because I'm not personally going to be ringing anyone. And in my actual outbound kind of touch points and prospecting, I don't tend to use the phone initially. I'm not a fan of cold calls, so I would do this, later down the line. So then email 2 is going to send up the following email. So it's going to use the template. It's selected the templates that are built in. So prospecting email number 1, and it says quick for company name, and then it says whatever it is here. Hey, contact first name. So when reaching out to someone, you need to have a reason. So this is the point. This isn't generic stuff. You're having to put this in personally for this person. then we're going to, there's another task that's been called, which is call to contact 2 days after that. So what that'll do is create a task in the salesperson's task list, and email them or remind them or text them depending on what's going on. And then we're going to send 2 days after that. We're going to look to send prospecting email number 2. So that's obviously some sort of follow up. There you go. I called you, wrote to you, and this is why I'm calling you. They haven't got a response, so I'm just trying to understand why. Blah blah blah. Then there's another one here, a task to call. I mean, this is quite a heavy call one that we've picked. And then sort of another prospecting email there. Just saying, hey, I've tried to reach you. And this is probably more formally known in the sales world as the breakup email. Actually, they tend to have quite a good response rate. If you can get a really well written, well thought out breakup email, they tend to be the ones that convert highest than anything. And then create a task to say that they've finished this sequence. So if we save this as a sequence, you'll see that it creates the steps. Now the steps here are the 3 emails that are part of that sequence. So although there are 7 steps, there are 3 emails. So what this will allow us to create in the sequencing dashboard that you now see is the performance. So you'll start to see how many people are enrolled, the open rate, the click-through rate, reply rate, meeting rate, unsubscribe rate, bounce rate. And the key that we'll be looking for is going to be click, reply, and meeting. If you're a salesperson, they're going to be the things that you want to hit. Obviously, the meeting rate, that's going to be your gold. If you can get people booking meetings, then you're doing your job. And ultimately, that's what you want to try and do to have a chance to have a conversation and close the prospect. So how do you enroll people into these conversations? So you can enroll contacts in different ways. The way I tend to find is by building a list. And hopefully I have under contacts and lists some example. That's 25,000 people. We don't probably want to do that. So let's just go to the contacts database and do this a little bit more manually. So we could select a series of contacts out of our demo here, and I don't think it's my inbox. I don't actually want to connect my inbox to this portal because it's a demo portal. So I feel like what we'll have to do is pretend. Oh, sorry about this. But in effect, you would tick these and you would click enroll in sequence. And what that'll do is bring up the next elements and start to populate those templates with actual sales information and contacts. It's going to be a very poor demonstration though, so I am going to have to connect my inbox. So very quickly, okay, settings. Okay, so I've connected my inbox. It's verifying the connection. So we're all good. And so we can now go back to where we were on the contacts list. Hopefully now you'll see that I can select these contacts and yeah, I can enroll them in a sequence. So I click enroll in sequence. I'm going to enroll them into this prospecting sequence that we've worked on. And here you go, you're going to start to see. So what this now brings you up is all of the contacts you're enrolling are down the left-hand side. And then the sequence is on the right-hand side. You have to then click onto the contacts. So in this example, It's they've all got missing information. Okay, brilliant. This is probably the worst demonstration I've ever performed, but there we go. The point of this is if all the information was in there, then it would be that you go through each contact. So I click on here and you'll see that it has grabbed the information it knows. So quick thought for Delicamp. And this is where you personalize the emails. So although it's loaded that template for me, I now would actually, in this part here, I would edit what I want to say about this particular contact, this particular email. So I'd put like my personal response here. And then you go through. So that could be for, contact 1. You see contact 2, when I click on it and I scroll down, it's loaded the template again. So you do go through personalizing it. So this is where you can drop in videos, video prospecting, really great following up with videos. We use Vidyard. I've actually got my Vidyard hoodie on today. If you wanted to insert a particular image or a particular file that's very specific for that contact, this is how you do it. So you build out a sequence and templates in the background, and then you come to here and personalize it. So you spend the time just going through, checking everybody, all of the different emails for this person. So you'll kind of build out that set for them. You go down to your next contact, repeat, put in the information, put any, referring documents, etc., etc. Build these up, going down your list of contacts one by one, making sure everything's really good. And then you just hit enroll the sequence. That will start it all, and it will then start following the actions around. So that, creating the tasks for you. As I said, we can skip this. You can on different contacts do different things, and decide that you're going to actually continue without completion, or going to actually, again, I'm not going to actually do that call. You can personalize these sequences as you're going, then get it all loaded up and driven. And then when you from here, as you see at the bottom, it says who from. So if you happen to have, say, Sales Pro with 5 users and all of them are connected, you can actually decide who you're sending them from. So that might be, I'm going to send them from me, or I might be sending them from, one of the other people in the company. You can therefore, build these out on behalf of people. So marketing or someone in sales could actually write this, and it could come from the MD, or it could come from, the new biz person, or whatever the case. You have the power to build sequences from other representatives as long as their inboxes are connected. And then that's, you'll see a drop down here and, go for it. Also, you can pick which. So my Google account has multiple aliases for different elements of what we do. And again, you can choose who you're sending it from, because what actually happens is it physically sends that, and you'll see a copy of the sent email in your Gmail, because it is a real email that's being sent out from you. It's not a marketing email. As I said before, this isn't getting sent on behalf of you or from a piece of software. It physically generates an email, sends it through to Google, and delivers it in a normal way, as if you had just literally opened up your inbox, written that email there and then. It's a very powerful tool because it is correctly personal if you do it right, and it's coming from your normal email address. So there is absolutely no reason for yourselves to get into spamming trouble. Poorly written, poorly designed sequences will have that same effect, and I'm sure you've all received those. There are loads of really great places to learn about sales prospecting, particularly favorite of mine. Actually, I like to the team at Lemlist. They've got a good product, firstly, but they have some amazing training and great videos on YouTube. So feel free to go and check those guys out. There's loads. If you just Google, sales prospecting, training, Vidyard is another great company that teach, and obviously they teach through video, and they believe in the power of video. I'm a huge fan of that in myself in prospecting. And that's how you can drop them in here. So you can record a personal one-to-one video and then drop them into each sequence, because that video will only be going to that person, because that's the whole point of the sales sequence within HubSpot. So apart from the really terrible demo, I hope that you have actually managed to understand the basics of the sales sequences and be confident in building your first one out. So as I said, you go to automation and sequence at the top, and then you would create a sequence top right hand side. And there are loads of already defined templates, or you just start from scratch. And if we go to do that now and we hit create sequence, very much the same tools that you're going to be familiar with if you've used any of the workflows in HubSpot or seen those videos before. So you've got to start by doing something. So you click on the plus, and with the first thing in this example, maybe we're going to do an email. And you're like, send the email. I'm going to add the email template. I'll select, this one here and click add. Then you're going to add a pause perhaps. So you might go, actually, maybe I'm going to send a to-do item for myself. And that might be, send LinkedIn connection request. Because I like to send someone an email. And a couple of days later, I might just follow up on LinkedIn, just saying, hi, I've sent you an email, hope you got it. It'd be great to be connected here on LinkedIn as well. I share great videos and think my content might be useful to you, etc., etc. So that creates a task in my list for me to follow up with and actually connect with somebody. And then we'd carry on down the sequence. Okay, we're going to send email number 2. So follow up email, add the email, pick the template. Click add, and then you can customize how you're going to do it. So, I'm going to do that in 4 days later. And you'll see that it's saying business days. That's about Monday to Friday in my settings in this HubSpot portal. So I only want to send these in business days. I don't want to be sending these at weekends because I don't work. It wouldn't be very helpful. And you just keep going down. Add might be another task. If you have Sales Navigator, i.e. you have LinkedIn professional tools, and you can tie those in, as you can see here. So I happen to have Sales Nav. So another really great tool in your armory as a salesperson is to be able to actually prospect on LinkedIn and find people using Sales Navigator. And this would allow you to automate, a message on LinkedIn as well. When I say automate, it's not against terms of service because it's not mass automation. It is basically just pushing through the API to create that message. So hopefully that was semi-useful. I'd love you to connect with me. Jump over to our Finally Agency YouTube channel. We've got loads more videos. Some of them are much better than this. Apologies, as fire engines are going on over here. I do love live. Great videos, loads more learning. Follow our hashtag on LinkedIn, hashtag Finally Engine Room, to stay up to date with all of the education and resources that we produce here at Finally. And I hope you find some of it useful and it takes you on the next step to your onwards journey. For now, I'm going to speak to you next week, and enjoy the rest of your week.